Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Variety Views. I'm your host, the Variety Vendor, and I'm here to review Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. I enjoyed this movie. This was a good movie. Apparently it's the last of a string of movies that began from 2013's Flashpoint Paradox. Which is a movie that I actually enjoyed. I like it wasn't. I remember it being really good, but it's kind of forgettable. There are a lot of things about it that's really forgettable. It's not one of those, and a lot of these movies from 2013 up until now, none of them really stood out. That really made me go, oh yeah, I will definitely rewatch that, and. I would say kind of it's the same thing with this, Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War. It is a mouthful. But at the same time, despite the fact that it's kind of, rewatchable, I would definitely watch it again. I have no problem watching it again. It's short, it's fun, there are a lot of fun moments in it, but that's not what I wanted out of this movie. Especially reading up on it after watching it and finding out that it's the last, it's not the last animated, DC animated movie, not by any means. If anything, they're going to do a Superman, standalone, which is kind of taken the story from the comics, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, one of my favorite comics, and this. With this movie, it just didn't feel like the final, like the movie that ends everything. Now, when it started, I thought, wow, you set the stage. Darkseid is about to invade Earth, so Superman wants to take the fight to Darkseid in Apocalypse instead of getting millions of people sacrificing millions of people in this war. So instead of that happening, they would just take the war to Darkseid. Unbeknownst to them, Darkseid knew knew about the attack, about Justice League about to attack. So he had everything ready to fight back, and the way that it was done was using Doomsday's DNA to make soldiers, like they were, absolutely like part Terror Demon, part Doomsday, and it made for like a scary combination, and like those Terror Demons would just destroy so many heroes, and that's the thing that I didn't like. I like the fact that the stakes were raised, that really our heroes had their backs against the wall. But what I didn't like was so many characters were sacrificed. I feel like it didn't give you a chance to kind of feel for those characters. I mean, yeah, you could say that you got like all these movies that you would watch leading up to this, and that's how you would feel for them. But none of them actually, had any screen presence in those movies. Most of these movies really focused on Batman and the Bat Family, and a little bit on Superman. That's it. That's all we got. And there was a Wonder Woman sequel, Wonder Woman Bloodlines, which was a sequel to the 2009 Wonder Woman, and it just they never focused on the other characters. And so when you have a character like Shazam getting destroyed, absolutely destroyed, even though it was like a heroic moment, you just didn't feel for him. You didn't feel for those characters that do get, obliterated. And I like the ending where it reconnected from the first movie. It was like a callback to the first movie, Flashpoint Paradox. I liked it, but at the same time, I feel like it wasn't earned. And the movie is it's like 90 minutes long, okay? Give or take. Maybe less. Maybe like an hour and 15. And it really felt like that they had Infinity War and Endgame crammed into 90 minutes to the point where it didn't mean as much. Now, if you would have given this movie like 15, 20 minutes more, like at the very least, because I feel like that what they had in this movie was enough for 2 movies. If they would split this into 2 and had like, part 1, Apocalypse War Part 1, Apocalypse War Part 2, it would have made so much more sense. It would have been much more digestible, because it really felt like they were just shoving so much down your throat that it didn't feel as important. Like, it started off great. It started off like the stakes were never as high. Not even in the live action movies. You were like, holy shit, the world is gonna end. And in the third act, like, it was going well, but in the third act, it kind of was like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. And, some of the characters could have really stood up, really could have made a difference, and no, they were shunned to the wayside. What happened to them? What happened to this character? And there weren't really any questions answered. How did they escape? How did this happen? How did that happen? How did they get where they got? And it just there were so many questions. Trigon, I think that's his name, Trigon, the father of Raven, that's inside of the gem. I thought that he was going to be a huge player in this movie. And yes, he did make it, somewhat of a difference at the end. But at the same time, I don't think it was done in a way where it was like... Because it was really like... They had fan service. They had, bits and pieces of fan service. But it just didn't feel right. It didn't make sense in the way that story was being told. Like, it would just come out of nowhere. Now, I'm all up for fan service, and there were really cool moments. There were really, really cool moments. Really iconic imagery going on in this movie. Despite the fact that me being not that much of a fan of the animation style, there were a lot of fun moments that was like, wow, this is great. I would definitely take a picture of this and hang it on my wall. This is how good it is. But at the same time, it just didn't feel like it was earned. Like, some of those imageries just didn't work for the story. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But as far as my ratings go, I'll give this movie a 7. A 7 out of 10. Now, this was really good. I really, really enjoyed it. But it could have been way better. This is definitely one of the better DCAU movies. Ever since, Flashpoint, this is probably my favorite one of all the movies that they brought out ever since 2013. I really hope that they would definitely go back to basics when it comes to storytelling now. I really hope that they would give us more character development, and maybe, more characters that, didn't get a chance to shine. I would love a Martian Manhunter movie. I mean, like, they're not doing it on live action. They're not doing it, too much on shows. They would have him, cameo on Supergirl. They would have him as a character on Supergirl. They would have him in shows like Justice League. But they never really capitalized on how important Martian Manhunter is. He's not my favorite character, but I do think that he is a character that really needs to be explored. I would love a Booster Gold movie. I would love a Blue Beetle movie. I would love, so many different movies that they could go with, rather than another Superman movie, another Batman movie. Just go different ways. And when you do these different movies, don't have Superman or Batman cameo in them because you think that, oh, they can't carry their own franchises. No, you give give them the opportunity. Give them the opportunity to stand on their own 2 feet. You don't need to do a Justice League Dark movie with Batman. You don't need to do a Suicide Squad movie with Batman. You don't need to do that. You can do these movies without Batman, without Superman. And I would love for them to explore. So that's all I gotta say. With that being said, rate, comment, favorite, and if you haven't, please subscribe. Share with your friends. Share with everybody. And check out my next video where I'll be talking about something else. Take care.